How hard did you push it? Till I black out? Yes. Numerous times, yes.
What's happening, MuniciPals? This is Big C and Ashton. We got some special guests here. We got our boys, Andre and Paolo, the owner of Coos Bay, and his brother who runs the magnificent restaurant and bar that they got here. It is one of, I'm going to just say it, it's probably me and Ashton's favorite gem that we've come across since we started the pod.
Dude, I'm drunk, I'm happy, and the biggest thing is we played Bandon yesterday. Unbelievable. But this place, not blowing smoke up, I'm sitting right here, not blowing smoke up y'all's ass. Like, this is everything that's right about golf. And I'm excited to have this conversation. And yeah, it's just like everything from like greens fees to pace of play to just the biggest thing, as I was talking with Paolo all throughout the day, being my cart buddy, is just the human connection. You feel it in a way that it's just really hard to find.
Will, who works in the pro shop, is a fucking gem. You can't just walk into a club and have this guy working at your shop. Like, he's not someone you find at public courses.
You gotta describe him. What was he wearing?
So he's all about the pants. So this dude,
John Daly.
I instantly thought it was John Daly. So did
he tell you the story?
No.
I'll tell you the story then. I talked to him. I said, I like your pants. He said he met John Daly almost 20 years ago. And he actually walked holes with John Daly, and ever since then he's been slowly collecting pants. But he met John Daly like 20 years ago, and that was his inspiration to buy these like crazy ass pants. And he's like, it makes me really happy. And I was like, that is an incredible story.
No joke. He was wearing black
paint splatter
that were paint splatter plaid. So all black pants, but where they paint splattered on, it was plaid. Yeah. They were the most insane pants. To be honest, Will's probably the only person I've ever seen that could pull that look off.
Yeah, if you wore those, I would
I wouldn't play golf in them. I couldn't. Yeah. There's no way.
But we gotta shut up. Like, introduce our Andre, Paolo, jump in, say hello.
What's up, guys? This is Andre.
Hello. It's Paolo.
So these are the men that make up Coos Bay.
We've spent a lot of time with these guys in the last 24 hours.
It's actually Coos Golf Club.
Yeah.
Not Coos Bay Golf Club, Coos Golf Club.
Chris is wearing the hat right now.
Instantly had to buy a hat.
And it looks good.
It looks good.
It looks really good.
I appreciate it.
I love it.
So today,
no, he's not complimenting your dumbass. He's complimenting the hat.
That's true.
Like, it looks good. Like, okay, wow. The
it looks good on Chris.
I make it look fucking good. So you better just.
But I'm gonna compliment the excellent hat. You should come. You should have a cart. You should get a delicious drink. And my man, Paolo, knows how to make a drink and buy a hat. It'll make you look good. Big C, beautiful. He's more beautiful now.
Yes. Our little sister made that logo.
Really?
Yeah.
What was it?
She designed it.
Wow. What was it before you guys bought the course?
Well, when we bought the course in 2017, the course was called Watson Ranch Golf Course. So the guy we bought it from,
which does not match the area.
That makes no sense. Yeah, no sense. For 85 years, this place was called Coos Country Club.
Okay.
This guy bought the course.
Private, right?
Yep, private country club. This guy bought it from the members and then promptly changed it to Watson Ranch Golf Course, and people were pissed off about it. So when we got the course, we had lots of conversations about whether or not we should change the name, and we found out right away that we needed to do that because the members were asking for that. Yeah. And so lots of conversations later, we came up with Coos Golf Club because we're not a country club. No. We didn't want to be that, but we wanted to also honor the past of what this place was, and people have loved it. Yeah. They've really kind of, grown attached to that, I think, and it brings them back to where things were. Yeah. And then that logo kind of came out when my sister came out here. We asked her to do the logo because she was doing design school stuff, and it's awesome. It's been a phenomenal thing. So very cool.
You guys come out here, and golf club is the right name for it because there's different things that you call public courses. In my mind, when you call a course golf club, it means you're coming out for certain things. You're coming out for the people. You're coming out for a quality experience. and you're coming for the golf more than you are anything else. And the people that come along with it really make up a club. And that doesn't need to be private, but when you call it a golf club,
Yeah.
it's a different atmosphere than calling it, something else. I mean, there's a bunch of different things that people call golf courses, but I think a golf club is a community of people that make up it's kind of just like a melting pot here, and the people that you guys have curated that make up the community that has come over the few years that you guys have taken over the course is fucking incredible. I mean, so we're gonna get into it. Before we do, about what our experience was here at Coos Bay today, I want people to know where they can find some information on Coos, because you guys had the USGA out here that did a great follow-up with you guys. You guys were in, was it Golf Magazine?
Yeah.
Golf Magazine. So there's been some incredible write-ups on what has occurred here and what you guys have been doing. So, Andre, tell us where they can find that information.
Yeah, so probably the easiest place, I mean, you can find us on any of the social media mediums. We have an Instagram page, Coos Golf Club, Facebook, but on the internet, you could just go to www.coosgolfclub.com, and we have all the information. We probably need to update our pictures a little bit more, just because we're so busy that we don't get enough pictures or take enough pictures and get them out. We're a small budget course, so everything we do is kind of in-house. But you can find the USGA video that the USGA put together on our homepage, which is just a really cool 5 to 10 minute video that goes over a little bit of our story, as much as they could have put into a little piece there, which is really, really cool. But we have most of our information there on the website. And, anybody, we've had a lot of people just finding us on Google recently, because every time new people come into the course when I'm here, I always ask, like, oh, how'd you find out about us? And they're like, oh, we just Googled. We're driving through the coast and, any golf course in Coos Bay, and you guys were the first one that came up. So pictures looked awesome, so we came out. So anybody can find us through that medium, obviously.
So if you guys don't know where Coos Bay is about 25 to 30 minutes north of Bandon, the Bandon Resort, in the city of Bandon. If you're flying to play Bandon, you're most likely coming through Coos Bay. If you come through Coos Bay, please come see Andre and Paolo. I mean, and please tell them that the MuniciPals sent you. They will take care of you.
That is awesome, yeah.
Please come see them, because I'm telling you, anybody that listens to our pod and you enjoy our takes on courses, this is the epitome of what we talk about.
Yeah.
And I mean, the greens are fantastic. The course is kept up meticulously. I can't talk anything more about how amazing the course is.
And I think, you should go watch the USGA video, but I'd love to hear you two just give the 5-minute synopsis, because I know, Paolo, you were the one who kind of found the ad and all the story. I think that telling the 5-minute Reader's Digest version is helpful, and then we could talk more about our day, so that, again, we don't want to belabor a point that's already been done, but I think that people who are like, what is this golf course, they should know a little bit, because the story's on, and we've learned a lot today.
The story is incredible.
Yeah, I think it's worth sharing kind of the Reader's Digest version.
Well, it's really funny because, from my perspective, it's hard to think about where it all began because the avalanche has gone way too far, right? So how do we think about the little snowball that created the huge snowball that has become? And, it was Mother's Day of 2017, and I'm sitting at my job, and I'm looking online at Craigslist like I normally do, and I find this ad for a golf course for sale, and I, without commentary, send it to my brother in a text message, and half an hour later I get a message from him, and it's like, if we're in on this, are you in? And I'm like, are you kidding me? Are you fucking kidding me? Yeah, I'm in. And
Wait, you have to think of context. Did you just Google golf? How did you get to this?
So
ad?
I was at that
looking for
time,
shoes or
at that time I'm working for Alaska Airlines, and so my whole thing is I look on Craigslist for anything because I'm a deal guy. To this day I find deals. I find deals and I'm like, hey, there's an anomaly in real estate price for this. Then that's exactly what I thought when I found this ad. But I'm like, I don't want to run a golf course. My brother might because he works for ESPN. And sure enough, I send it without commentary to him and they think it's a joke. And it wasn't a joke because I'm like, the real estate price is an anomaly. And there's multiple layers that I'm thinking about it when I send it to him. And when he sends the response back to me is like, are you in? And I'm like, wait. Like, okay, if you're in, yeah, I'm in.
And to be clear, you told me you had a great job with Alaska Airlines at the time. Like,
oh, I did. And my thing is like I've been doing customer service for lack of a better, for a formal description, I've been doing this since I was in high school. And it's just about the connection part, which is really another function of what Coos Golf Club is about, right? That first whole 3 months after my brother and sister-in-law acquired the golf course and decided that it was their new project, we would have these sessions after working the golf course, right? And we would talk about what we learned that day. And my brother would be like, wait, how'd you find out that information? And I'm like, I don't know, I just talk to people. And that's from 15 years of working at Alaska Airlines in the business lounge at SeaTac, learning how to talk to people, and I wasn't using that information for any other reason than getting to know them, right? And we got to know that the rhododendrons on 7 that are on the upside of the backside of 7 green.
Such a hard hole also.
Yeah, well,
Yes, not easy.
they're all there for people's parents who passed away, right? They planted those rhododendrons years ago, and then they spread their ashes on that hole. And it's like, God, man, that's so fucking cool. It's like, and for us, it's like, maybe this is bigger than what it is, right? We're like stewards of this place that's really special for this community, and it kind of coincides with who we are, right? Like, okay, yeah. Like, I don't know, like, I never intended on being involved in food, but I always liked food. I was a fat kid when I was growing up because I liked food.
Amen.
And now I'm like, this is the best way to make a hot dog, right?
And he makes a fucking solid hot dog, guys. I gave him a good 9 out of 10 on the hot dog scale.
That's a big deal.
So,
I
by the way,
appreciate that.
I've never in my life have had somebody sous vide a hot dog for me, and it was a game changer in the hot dog spectrum.
You're gonna start sous vide hot dogs at home.
Yeah, it might. Me and my wife might be making a
Well, not your wife.
trip. Making a trip to go buy a sous vide machine.
Okay, Maggie's not eating hot
So
dogs.
I can now make them at home because
She's gonna be like, do something else for me. She loves you, but
No, she's not. She's not into the hot dog game like that.
Well, actually, she might actually love you even more because all she needs to do is stick the sous vide, like the hot dogs, in a Ziploc bag, in the water, submerged, and she doesn't have to do anything.
That's true.
the thing though with their relationship is Chris is the food guy though.
I cook.
okay.
I'm the chef in
you're
the
the-
So
household.
she's not making him sous vide hot dogs.
No.
He's got an immaculate bathroom floor, but his ass is getting the food.
Well, the thing
Yeah.
about sous vide is that it's like, you don't have to, like, you get maximum return for a minimum effort.
Yeah, it's really easy. But super fucking good hot
Thank
dogs.
you. Thank you.
Super good hot dogs.
And you know, I think that, like, it surprises me that, well, no, it doesn't surprise me. It's just not something that people have realized. It's a tool that they can use to make a really great hot dog.
Yeah.
You know, and I've done it for lots of other different foods and things that we've served here in the clubhouse, and it's great. I think, you know, it's not a cut around. It's not you're not cutting corners.
No.
It's something that actually works, and you should take advantage of the tools that you have available to you.
And you talk a lot about steaming.
If you guys hear that, get yourself a sous vide machine.
Sous vide.
Sous vide machine. And
So
and
American.
go make yourself some food.
Get yourself a sous vide machine, put it up, and it's all good, okay? Just
Which
put
is
it on
actually French.
I put my sous vide in my F-150, and it was absolutely killer when I made that sous vide.
But
No.
back to your guys' story. So, so after, you guys decided to buy it and get it all going.
So he sends this text message, and I look at it, and I'm just like, this is pretty funny. And I show my wife, and she's like, it's just a joke. And I'm like, nah, I don't know. He's just sent it to us. She's like, where is it? And I was like, I don't know, Medford or something like that. I've been to Medford. It's pretty cool. At this point in time, I was 7 years in at ESPN, which is like my dream company to work for. I loved that place, and everyone there knew that I loved that place. And I'm like, man, you're a lifer.
But you don't live in Sanford, Connecticut?
So ESPN has satellite offices everywhere, and so my office was in Seattle, and I did a lot of traveling internationally and domestically, so I was all over. I went to Bristol probably twice a year, New York 4 or 5 times a year.
Not Stanford.
Yeah. It's close enough.
Yeah.
Over there. But so I was at this point, I was kind of almost at the end of my rope. There was some changes in upper management, and I was kind of like ready for maybe a little bit of a change. And I don't know if my brother knew that even when he sent me this text message, but it piqued my interest enough. And so my wife and I were talking about it that day, and when I showed her this, and she's like, wow. She's like, we cannot buy a house in West Seattle for this price. Because we had been looking in West Seattle, which was where our kids went to school. She's like, we can't buy a house in West Seattle for this price, but you can own a golf course, wherever the heck it is, in 160 acres. She's like, why don't you just look into that a little more? And I was like,
That's probably not the answer you expect.
no, absolutely not. And I don't even know if that's the answer I would want necessarily, right? It was just like, okay, all right, let's research it. And literally for the next 2 weeks, we were just nonstop researching this and trying to figure out where it was, what the name of the course was, and then like what would we have to do if we actually wanted to try and buy this course. It was bananas. I mean, we found out in 2 days where it was, and just sleuthing online and finding the actual like listing on a real estate site. And at the same time, Paulo actually found out where it was too via a friend of ours.
Family friend.
Family friend.
We went to high school with their kids that are from Coos, and so the mom so I've been coming to Coos a long time because they lived here, and I would visit them, and this family so happened to be coming through the airport, traveling through after visiting their family on the Tuesday after I had sent the text message to my brother, which was 3 days.
That's wild.
And I said, oh, my brother's thinking about buying a golf course. And she's like, oh, that's the old Coos Country Club. And I was like, I don't think it was a country club. And she's like, no, the country club's for sale in Coos. And I'm like, no, it was a Medford posting in Craigslist. It wasn't Coos. And she's like, no, the country club's for sale.
Also, why would they put this on Craigslist?
Yeah, it's just random. Just
all of
it's
it's crazy, right?
It's so and it's even more crazy that my good family friend has no association to, like, other than like I'd come here for 10 years and like visited because we went to high school with their kids, right? And so their oldest daughter was one of my really great friends from high school, and she would be like, hey, I'm gonna go visit my friends or my parents. They live in this awesome place on the beach. You wanna come and hang out? And I'm like, yeah, we'll come and hang out. So I'd do that, and I loved it down here. I'd been coming down here for like that long, and I'm like, how do I get my family down here? Because this is a really cool place. And sure enough, like, she says that the country club's for sale. And I'm like, I'm not sure. And I check with my brother, and he's like, no, it's the country club in Coos.
Yeah, it was bananas. How that all came into, just kind of existence a little bit. So I think it was maybe even a week after that, we were like, we got to go down there. Because it started getting where me and my wife were literally talking about, we'd be up to like midnight, 1 a.m. talking about this. And like, what if we got this place and we did X, Y, and Z? And we're talking about like, what's the competitive market down there? We're literally like, all of our business senses came in. We've never owned a business, but we were like, this is super fun, like getting into a project together. Me and my wife haven't been able to do that in a long time, and it was super fun, just like both of us putting all of our energy into like this one thing, and it was like, this is awesome. It was super fun. So we ended up coming down here. We were like, we got to go and see this place if we're actually serious, because I had reached out to the broker, got all the financial information and everything. So I was like, after looking at that, I was like, if we can figure out like what it means to buy a golf course and how to do that, because is it like buying a house? I have no idea. But if we can figure this out, I was like, I think we need to do it just by looking at the numbers, because there's something crazy about it, and I think we can make this work and it will be worth it for us. I was like, but I don't know what any of that means. We need to go check this place out. So we decided to come down, and on our way down, I told my brother, I was like, hey, can you reach out to the close family friends? And I was like, because I want to have dinner with them and just ask them a bunch of questions, because the husband was part of the country club back in the day. He grew up playing here.
That's awesome.
This is where he learned to play golf, and then he went to college on golf scholarships. So he's a very good golfer.
And his kids played golf.
And and they agreed. They're like, yeah, after you guys play, why don't you come out? We'll have dinner. And we ended up playing out here, met Will, had just like an awesome time. It was crazy. I was like, okay, we were preparing ourselves, because I was like, well, at the price that this golf course is, it's got to be a shithole.
So guys, just from what he said too, Will came with the course.
Yes.
Just so you guys know. And it was probably the best part of the purchase.
Well, how long has Will?
Will's been here 10 plus years.
Yeah.
So he's been
like 14 years.
Yeah, and so he's been through the ups and downs, and we'll get into that a little bit later, because it's really cool for him, I think, and to see his like what he's.
Well, see what I'm saying? Muni Madness. He chipped in tonight.
I know, absolutely.
He made his
That was
birdie.
freaking awesome.
Actually,
Hell yeah.
He's never played a Muni Madness. You guys have witnessed him.
That was
playing
the
his
first
Muni
one.
Madness.
Wow.
Which was super awesome.
Actually, and
He
there's like
chipped in for
he's had an
birdie.
aversion towards it. He's had an aversion towards Muni Madness for some reason, and because it was never on the
Has
night.
he ever vocalized
Do you
it?
think it was
Well, no,
because
he was
mostly
just
a
like,
caddy
he's
thing?
just like, it's not me. It's like, it's not.
Is it mostly a caddy
Well,
thing? Is that why?
No, I don't know why, but for me personally, he's always verbalized that with me, and tonight it was really good to see Will out here and
was
like
so good.
to understand that like he was just playing, which is very different from like Will and I play every Monday, right? And my brother's here, we play together, but we play every Monday, and it's typically not here. We'll go and play a different course, and because his perspective is like, I want you to play a different course so you guys can experience a different course, right? And he's got all these connections around the Oregon Golf Course Associations.
Will has all the connections.
Yeah. And so he'll always be like, oh, we're going to go, we're playing here. And I'm like, you just tell me, I'll just ride along, right? And so when my brother's here, we'll go. And so, but he never plays Muni. And tonight, like, I looked at him when I saw him, and he just had the smile on his face.
Yeah.
And I was like, dude, Will, it's so good to see you playing out here.
He tried to get out of it. He was like, I'm gonna stay and work in the shop, and I go, no, you're playing with us. I go, I want you out there.
Yeah.
We got the MuniciPal boys out here. I was like, you are going to play with us.
Yeah.
You need to be out there. And he's like, all right. He's like, if you want me out there, I'm going to be out there. I was like, I want you out there.
Well, I guess it's probably a good time. Could you explain to the people what Muni Madness is? Because, man, that was a fucking riot.
Yeah,
Yes.
it's
I've never seen that before.
Absolutely. So Muni Madness is this game. It's basically a skins game that one of the caddies, probably one of the best golfers around the area here.
Well, he shot the best.
so-
Yeah, he owns our course record.
All the caddies too are from Bandon Dunes, so you guys know we're talking about all
Yep.
the caddies from Bandon.
Yeah, so one of our good friends, shortly after my wife and I acquired the course, we met with him and he asked like, "Hey, can we put together this game at the course?" And he's like, "If so, what days could we have the course or whatever?" And I was like, any afternoon is pretty much slow around here. I was like, I'll give you 9 holes. Pick a day. Monday, Tuesday, or Thursday are probably the best because there's super slow days. He's like, all right, let's do a Tuesday afternoon. I was like, sweet. I'll give you 9 holes and do whatever you need to do. So he sets up basically all 9 holes on either the front or the back 9, and they're all set up as par 3s. So he'll go out beforehand and he'll set up a hole that is anywhere from 160 yards to 100 yards. And basically everybody is going to go to that tee box that's playing in the game, and there could be 20, 30 people in the group, and everybody's teeing off at the same time. And all you're trying to do is get a birdie or a hole in one. You pay in. Tonight we paid $20. $10 went into the skins pot. $10 went into the hole in one pot. And if you get a birdie on a hole and you're the only one to birdie that hole, if there's multiple groups, out of all the groups, then you get a skin. And out of all the skins, you divide up, how many skins, the money that's totaled in the pot divided by how many skins are, and that goes. So we had 180 in the pot tonight and 7 skins. So they all got, 25 each. And then there's a hole.
Well, basically one person.
Absolutely. And then if there's a hole in one, the hole in one pot basically goes to that person.
But then also, guys, if you're the only one to birdie a hole, everybody else playing pays you $2 on that hole.
Yeah.
It's called the whip out.
It's called the whip out. Yes. And that sometimes changes. Like tonight we did $2. Sometimes there's a $5 group. Sometimes there's a $10 group. Just depends on what people want to do and how comfortable people feel. It's all about having fun. So like tonight I was like, let's just do a $2 whip out, have a good time. And it felt like a lot after there was 5 straight.
Well, because he's fucking making putts
It
everywhere.
was unbelievable.
Fucking Kimball, first 5 holes had four whip outs. It was fucking
And
ridiculous.
long putts
No,
too.
yeah, it was unbelievable.
Man, they were great
So it's
putts.
a super fun game. There's particular rules. No practice swings. No posing on the tee box. Everybody is teeing off from the same tee box at the same time. There was 18 of us in the group.
But you could talk in anyone's backswing.
Talking the back swings. You gotta have flat ball markers.
If you're the guy putting for
I gotta
money,
say, I should have said this. I know I'm drive-by shooting him. The one guy with the Mizuno hat, that was not a fucking flat ball
that
mark.
was definitely not
His big old Bend and Dunes coin.
Yeah.
Come on, man.
But if one guy, the last guy that's putting, and usually you putt furthest in, obviously, if the last guy that's putting is putting to win the hole for
Win
a
it for
birdie,
money.
everybody can get in his line. The only rule is you can't touch him, but any kind of distraction method
Yeah,
possible.
you can't ruin his line. You can't touch
Well,
him.
you can step in his line apparently.
You can't just step on it. You can be like straddling
You
it
can
if you like.
straddling it.
But
You can
pretty
be.
nuts.
It's
Close.
6 inches above the ball
It's great
with your club.
And if the ball hits another ball, it disqualifies that
yes,
ball.
yeah.
So-
you want to mark your ball right away if you're on the
if-
green.
I was
You
taking a
hit it-
drink with Paolo, and I realized I was like within 6 feet. I fucking dropped my drink and took off.
it happened to me too. I hit it within 2-3 inches on one of the holes. It was almost a hole in
Oh, it
one.
was close.
And literally, Chris didn't know that I hadn't, like, she
Yes,
thought someone
yes.
else chipped it
She
to
almost
that point.
She almost moved your
And
ball.
she almost hit my ball with her chip, and I had to run up and mark it, or I would have been disqualified with it. Unfortunately, fucking Andre over here fucked me, and I was in for the money, and he sinks
Well,
like
was that a
chip in?
20
Did you-
footer.
It was
No,
puff
no,
him off
no.
the green. Puff him off the green.
Oh yeah, you did put it from off the green.
No. That was the hole that I hit it within three
No.
or four. Yes.
Nope, you putted it off the green for
Yeah,
birdie. The
the
next
one that
hole
I
is the
made.
one you made it
My
from. Like,
fault.
yeah.
Yeah.
My fault. Yeah.
'Cause
So
that one was
that
sick.
was the
Yeah.
hole after.
Yes.
I put it to 3 or 4
Yep.
inches. Yeah.
Big C putted in from the rough It wasn't even the fringe. That was from the
No,
rough.
from the rough on a downhill slope.
It was sick. And then I drained.
Dumped it in.
I dumped a 20,
Just
25
fucked
footer.
me.
And I had only hit probably 2 greens up to that point. That was pretty awesome. But then you went and birdied the next hole. That was the hole you were like inches from, but someone
And
drained
then I
something.
couldn't hit a green for the rest.
And then my brother
was
capped
rough.
me later.
Your cold shank on number 4.
I couldn't play at all, but the fact that I capped my brother means something.
Damn,
Oh, man.
that was pretty.
Actually, that was a
pretty
long
nice.
putt too.
I drained an awesome putt on the 7th hole.
Yeah. Yeah, but Muni Madness was awesome. But going back to this morning, I mean, I think like we got to play. We did a match play, me and Paolo versus Andre and Chris, and that was super fun. And the thing I want to call it is again conditioning. And Andre, I think it's a great time also if you tell the story a bit about the greens, right? Because I mean, I think like the greens. I mean, I think I 4-putted twice today. I hit it great. I putted like shit, but it's because the greens are really subtle. But a big part of what you told us on the FaceTime call was you just cut the greens. But I think that's a really interesting story because it's not at all what I expected.
Yeah, so when we first got here, probably the biggest thing, and the caddies all said this to us, was that the greens were really slow. And, you know, at that point I was like, still learning. I'm like, okay, I've never owned a golf course, never ran a golf course, so I don't necessarily know. I was a 20 handicap at the time, and so I didn't necessarily know. I like to play golf, but it was like, okay, greens you just need to roll a putt. But I learned pretty quickly that the greens got to be nice, and they got to roll at a certain speed to have some, you know, that people really like. So when we got here, I was like, okay, these greens are actually rolling really slow. And so within 2 days, we got here on a Saturday when we got ownership. Me and my son drove down here, and I was like talking to the maintenance crew, and I said, what's going on with the greens? Why are they so slow? And they said, well, we gotta lower the reels on our greens mowers, and the guy that does that is out on medical leave. And I said, okay, well, can we get a hold of him so that we can talk about how we can get that fixed? They're like, okay, yeah. So he comes out the next day, and he's like, I told these guys how to lower the reels. They know what to do. And they're already all set. I'm like, okay, can we just do it? And then the other guys were like, whoa, like, slow down. We can't just cut the grass that much. We will burn the greens. I'm like, okay. And I was like, will we know right away if we're burning the greens? They're like, yeah, it will turn like this yellowish brown, like right away. I'm like, sweet. Go up to that putting green. We have 2 putting greens here. And I said, go to that upper putting green and mow a quarter of it at this height that we want it to be at. And if it starts turning yellow and brown, stop, and we'll baby that shit back up, and then we will figure out what our next game plan is going to be. But if it doesn't, go mow every freaking green on the course. So I come back the next day, and these guys are like giddy, like they just got off a freaking ride at Disneyland, right? Oh my God, we got all 18 done. And I was like, sweet, let's go. And then there were people who played, 3 days in a row, some members that I had seen the previous 3 days. And they go out there and play that day, and they're like, what the hell just happened? I'm like, what? What's going on? And they're like, it's a different course out there. What did you do? And I go, oh yeah, we mowed the greens. Literally, that's what I said. We mowed the greens. I don't know. Like, we didn't spend any more money to do that. And the course was already like significantly different.
Yeah.
So guys, the greens are... So the one thing I will say about all Oregon greens, and I would say the majority of greens I've played in the Pacific Northwest, the land is really hard. So the surface is really hard. It's really just the grass getting a little furry that might slow a lot of the courses down.
Absolutely.
And I come across it a lot in a lot of the public courses in Portland. Like McKay, the 9-holer that's in the Beaverton side. That's literally all they need to do is just mow some stuff lower because it rains so much here. The ground, you would think it's soft, but it's actually harder because it needs to run off. And so you notice a lot of the greens in the Pacific Northwest are turtle-backed. Mm-hmm. So they're smaller circular greens, and they run off on every side so that the water can flow off to each side.
Absolutely.
And that's exactly how this course is set up. I would say 80% of the greens are these really beautiful circular turtleback greens with fantastic undulations in them, where you don't get a lot of that in the Pacific Northwest.
A lot of cool ridges in between the middle where it's like, again, it's like, I think it's going to break right to left, but if I guess this ridge wrong, it could break the opposite way entirely.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
And so, I mean, we haven't gotten to play it prior to you guys cutting and doing those things, but like, it rolls incredibly well. You know, like we were saying, we just finished up at Sheep Ranch and at Bandon, and I would say I'd take these greens over Sheep Ranch.
Yeah, for sure.
That we played yesterday.
Yeah.
By far.
That's awesome. I mean, that's, you know, especially as like being a course owner and like knowing that is the most important asset that we have out there.
It really is.
That is super fantastic to hear. And then I was telling Chris this earlier. You know, the gals that we met at the dunes, Rachel and Steph. Rachel, who played D1 golf at University of Denver, when we were out there, she was like, these greens are phenomenal. They're pure. And I was like, that means so much to me, because that's everything that we've tried when it comes to the maintenance of the course. Like, that's the most important thing to me, is making sure that people are very happy when they get on the greens.
Yeah.
It's very playable. They're not running at 13 stints, but they're also not running at 8s.
Absolutely.
Like, it's a perfect 10. Mm-hmm. Like, in a perfect 10 stint in my mind in a course that you play every day, and it's going to be your regular track. It's going to be your home. That's what you want. Yeah. I don't need to go out and play the Bandon greens that are just gonna mind fuck you all day. And to be honest, the Coos fucking greens are gonna mind fuck you. As Ashton said, he 4-putted fucking twice today.
Chris 4-putted an eagle putt.
Yes.
I did.
Thank you for bringing that up.
Someone was gonna bring it up, and I figure he probably was gonna.
Driver 7-wood and 4 putts, baby.
Driver 7-wood on for eagle and 4-putt.
Well,
so I'm gonna tell you, these greens are not easy. I might be making it sound like that.
But I think the big thing though is, and this isn't like, 'cause some people might think this is a knock on consistency. It's not. There's some putts down the hill where it's like, I don't know how that stopped, and there's some putts up that like there was a lot of times today where it's like, this doesn't feel predictive, but that's the fun part of like, there were putts I hit down the hill where it's like, this should stop or this should run to the hole, and I've got 8 feet and I got to make this, or else this dumbass wins the hole.
I think that actually is about like the nuance of the greens as well, right? So there's a lot of character to the greens that exist here, and it's what keeps the members interested. Members always comment about like it's always new for them, and that they're always happy to play here because it's never the same course, and
that's so cool.
I mean, these are members some of these members who have been here since the 50s and 60s too.
Absolutely.
And the creativity you guys can get with your tee box selections too. Mm-hmm. I mean, for a public course, usually it's very minimal in the tee box options.
Yeah, whites and blues are like 5 yards apart.
Well,
yeah.
It doesn't feel any different.
And I like, we were talking about that with one of the caddies out here who's a PGA pro, and we played. He's always playing the blues, and we played the whites with him the other day, and I'm like, gosh, man, the whites for him should be like the golds for us, and the golds for us is still an interesting course. It's a challenging course. It's not something that says, oh, you're playing a par 3. It's not at all. No. You're playing a course. You're playing an entirely different course. So when they start incorporating these like the combination courses here or tee boxes here, there's no reason why you can't enjoy golf for your life, right?
Well, and that's another thing that I would say I'd preach to all of the listeners is your local muni, your local track that you play, don't just play blues every time you go out. Don't tip it out every single time. Play from what you consider the ladies' tees. They're not fucking ladies' tees. They're just the up tees.
They're forward tees.
They're forward tees. I hate the fucking...
Well, we played with Chris today, who's a lady who fucking played with whites with us.
And it's the one-ups.
Well, so So we have friends that we've made here that are in their 70s and late 70s and 80s who have become friends. We don't think of them as like, elders or anything like that. We think of them as friends, right? They're drinking buddies. And one of them is quit golf because he doesn't want to play from the forward tees. He doesn't want to play from the gold tees.
That's ridiculous.
Right?
He's 87
years old. And he can't hit over the ditch on 9, right? So one of his golf buddies, who is our family friend, I was talking to him the other day on the phone, and he's like, well, I'm getting old. And I'm like, what does that mean? And he's like, well, I can't play golf anymore. And I was like, no. You don't want to play golf. And he's like, well, what do you mean by that? And I was like, you're going to play golf to the day you die, as far as I'm concerned. If you're going to play with me, we're going to find a game that works. And he's like, well, what game will work? And I was like, you want to play a par 3 with me, 100 and in? You choose the tee box we'll play 18. You choose where the tee box is every other hole. And he's like, really? And I was like, yes. And I was like, bring your wallet and let's play. And he's like, that's a game that I will play. And I was like, fuck yeah, because if you don't, you know what I'm going to think you are? And he's like, I'll play. And I'm like, good. and that's just the example, right? Golf should be something that you should think about beyond the tee boxes, right? Like,
yes,
let's
the
play.
Distance is not the judging of, like we were talking about in the Bandon podcast, is the preserve does not have a hole over 160 yards, and it's the funnest fucking time you're ever gonna have on a fucking golf course.
And you hit 7-wood.
And I hit a 7-wood out there because of the fucking conditions that come out.
And I putted twice.
Well, yeah.
Well, this is a perspective that I'm going to make from. I'm going to step back, right? I'm not to bounce on your preserve conversation, but we played Roseburg Country Club, and Roseburg Country Club doesn't have a par 3 that's below 170. I'm like, that is not cool. I mean, like, I have to pull a hybrid out to hit a par 3? No, man.
For an entire course to not have one under
exactly
170, it's just... that's
brutal.
That's challenging to the point where 90% of golfers out there aren't going to enjoy themselves.
Well, it's like the par 3 is the opportunity for someone who can't really play golf to maybe get a good shot, right? And when you have a 170-yard shot, it's like, no, right? Like, and
the accuracy that most amateur golfers have 170 yards is not very good.
well, but and
be real.
Well, interestingly enough, right? Okay, so we have some longer hole par 3s here, but you're also shooting down, right? So you save some, right? But
Like, way down.
that's not. I mean, you could shoot a pitching wedge on 150 yards, right? Because you're shooting down on it. You can't do that at Roseburg. You can do that at the Preserve. That's not threatening, like the Preserve, right? And there's nothing threatening the Preserve. And that's what it intends to be. But for me, it's like, you can't have these long par 3s because that is the opportunity for someone who doesn't really have a game. And you talk about someone who's already intimidated by playing the forward tees. 170-yard tee is really long for someone who's 75 years old, 80 years old, right?
Yeah. Well, I'll give you one example that, like, it just hits me really hard is, like, so, like, Liz, my girlfriend, like, she's so sweet. Like, she's gonna listen to this, and I feel we're saying this, but, like, she's picking up golf, and I genuinely think she wants to play golf. But, like, let's call a spade a spade. She loves how much I love golf, and she wants to be able to do it with me, right? We've gone on the driving range a couple times. It was, well, actually just once, and it was fine, but I could tell that she was self-conscious. Like, she didn't like watching me, because also me being a lefty, she didn't like me watching her. I have videos on my phone of her missing, a lot of shots in a row. But what was really amazing to me was when we were up in Portland, 2 weeks ago, we went to a pitch and putt. And
McMenamins.
Yeah.
Sick little pitch and putt.
Like, exactly. And that's actually the whole idea of, like, every hole was between 70, like, basically, like, 60 or 70 yards.
It's basically a bar with golf holes.
Okay.
Yeah,
It's sick.
you're hitting off mats. It's 60 yards. And the thing that's so great is me and her friend, her boyfriend were saying is like, for me, it was great practice for me to hit like 50-yard pitch shots, like things I need to get better at. And what's so dope for her is like what she definitely felt like, because the week before we were in San Diego, we were on this golf simulator. And she was like, we were actually playing Bend and Bandon, so we like souped up her stats and stuff. But she was like self-conscious that she had a driver and like her driver was going a lot shorter. But what was amazing is like we get there and she had a driver and we're on a 63-yard hole and she hits her driver and almost goes on the green. And like she turned around and looked at me and it was this moment of like she kind of got it, you know? Because she like felt like she could kind of see, like she just could kind of see it, right? Where it's like you hit a shot that's around the green and like just like for her skill level, again, she's barely picked up a golf club. But like my 430-yard hole is her 60-yard hole. But to your point, who gives a flying fuck what the number is? Because she turned around and she was like, and we walked off that pitch and putt round and she was like, I want to go get a lesson and get better.
Yeah.
And isn't that what's fucking sick about golf? Is like, yeah, man, if you want to fucking put yourself on the back tees, like we talked about the Ross, like with my dad and his buddies, that's when grown men with real handicaps are playing back tees, hit cups. There's absolutely a time for that. That is actually, over the course of golf, a very, 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 very finite amount of time. Like 2, 3, 4%. Most of it is, Paolo, if you want to fucking play whites and I fucking play blues, because we play golf together. When I hit my driver hole, I hit it 100 yards past you. That's fine. That's not the same game. Well, like, I know from playing with you today, I've talked to you about this a lot. Man, I don't know how the fuck you take a pitching wedge and forward press the shit of it and fucking hit your pitching wedge from 80 yards to 6 feet. I can't do that. But the point is, golf is not like I hit it farther than you, but that is a skill in its own way. But
And I mean, Ashton hits it further than me, but we're still probably very relative.
The whole
to the
point
same
of tees and
handicap.
the beautiful thing with the reason why I love golf so much is with the proper tees and the proper handicaps. The four of us at this table, we have me and Chris are about a 7. So you're 22, Andre, you're an 11. We can play the right tees, right handicaps, and we play an even. I mean, literally today,
It's evens the playing
we
field.
played an even game today.
Yeah.
Well,
right?
and
like it's
and
awesome.
even that we talked about that too with playing with Rachel and Steph yesterday, and Chris, the caddy, female caddy from the Dunes, came out and played, who's a member here. I could sense that she had some hesitation initially, especially after seeing Rachel. Rachel, like, incredible how Rachel was playing yesterday. She drove from the whites further than some of the best male players in our club that I've seen. I'm still flabbergasted by like seeing the kind of drives that she did. And if I were Chris, I would have been intimidated by that. But Chris's game is so different. And we talked about this after. I'm like,
So those like chippy
Chris-
hybrids from like 125, like holy shit, man!
Yeah.
Like,
Chris-
magic.
Those,
Chris's
and her
game, dude.
short game is fucking incredible.
Chris's game, it's like, if she were to focus on the fact that like compare herself to Rachel, it's like you can't, dude. But she kept up, and we all were playing together, like right.
fun.
And I'm like, she doesn't need to worry anything about her game. She just needs to focus on her game because her game is good, and that's what we've talked about that with golf, right? Like my brother and I. My brother's hesitated to tell me things that he's working on in his game because he knows it might not apply to my game. So if he tells me, he might fuck me up in terms of my game, right? But he's aware of that, and we're both aware of that because it's like, well, we know we're not working on the same things, right? And we know that what works with my game doesn't necessarily make sense for his game because he's doing something different than I am, and I can validate that's happening right now because he continues to work on his game and I continue to work on mine, and we're both getting better in our games, right? And we're not talking about how we're getting better in our games. We just go out and play. All we do is say, hey, you want to play? Yeah, let's play, right? And I know that
Well, you even said earlier when you hit one of those wedge shots, I was like, dude, it was this hole. It was like he had like 100 yards. He like hits a pitching wedge. It's like a bunker. This like little area that like is, to be clear, is not a landing area. And then there's like the front flag. He flies it into the hill on the front lit area that's not a landing area in the rough. Hits like 6 feet. I was like, what the fuck? And he gives this giggle and goes, it makes my brother so mad. I'm like, that's what I love, right? It's like, you don't have that shot.
Terrible
I don't
from
hit
100 yards.
If I hit that, I hit that into the bunker 100 times out of 100. But that's the beauty of
Like,
golf.
how'd you do that? And I'm like, I don't know, dude.
But
This
also,
is my
wait,
game.
wait,
Same with
Boy.
my spinny chips.
Yeah.
Like, I hit these low spinners that take 2 fucking hops and they stop.
Yeah.
No matter what kind of green we're playing on, and it
Yeah.
drives fucking Ash nuts.
But the crazy thing though I've realized recently is I got up and down today multiple times from
Yeah.
that open face floppy thing that you never hit those.
I'm not a guy to put a ball in the air.
But we have very different games. But you told me, I think this is good, Pella. I love the story you told me in the cart how you learned to hit those.
Oh, yeah.
Like, 'cause that's a cool story that you told me in the cart today.
Well, so it was the first year when we were open, and like we were open 7 days a week here in the clubhouse, and like there'd be downtime, which, you know, if we were still open those hours, we would have a lot of downtime, and I'd probably be even better golfer. But we've cut the hours, so. But in the downtime, I would go up in the upper putting green, and I would take this little blade Nike pitching wedge, and 30 yards and in, I just taught myself how to just pitch it in. And to this day, like, it's the same thing with my shortened 60, which you guys were commenting about tonight. Is like this like weird, like
Such an aggressive forward press.
It is.
Oh,
What?
absolutely.
It's like it's
the way you hit the ball.
I think
mean,
the length of that shaft is like 17 inches.
So also, like,
It's like above your forward hip.
So,
It's crazy.
a lot of people forward press, but he forward presses past his front leg. It's the most incredible thing, and he does the same thing with his putting stroke as well.
Oh, and for context, how tall are you, Paolo?
I'm 5'2".
Yeah, so like and you hunch over a lot on your putter, but your putter looks like a normal length.
Yeah, putter's 33.
You're basically like, that's my putter.
Yeah.
But you're like down on almost, like, I noticed you're the bottom of your grips on all your
Yeah,
clubs.
and I'm actually, I was talking to it with a friend of mine who helps, like, he shortened my clubs 3/4 inches yesterday actually, and I was talking to him about shortening my putter. And I'm like, I'm considering 2 inches off of it. And then we started talking about, this was yesterday when he shortened 3/4 off my irons. And today I'm like, I don't think so, dude. And he's like, why not? And I was
Getting
like,
used to it.
because I'm just going to deal with the 2 inches. Like, I think that I can't go backwards.
It would feel so weird.
Yeah, it might feel, and part of me was like, this cheap bastard, he didn't want to spend $30 on a new grip.
So the truth comes out. The mezcal's talking now.
Dude, I mean, I've got the $30. I'll put it down right now. But at the same time, I'm like,
But
I don't want to.
he didn't have Big C's specialty
Gotta take that
on
putter
how to
grip off.
save that putter grip, cut it down, slap it back on, and save you that $30. Because your boy could do all of that.
Well, he's pretty good, dude. He's like, he cut the grips off right yesterday, and he used an air compressor to put the grips on, the new grips on. And he's like, so if you want to take these off,
So no tape, all air.
no tape, all air.
Oh,
And
okay,
so-
that's
and-
a new style.
And he's like, test this out at 3/4 of an inch. If you want more, we can take more off, and because we've air compressed
blast
this
them
on, we
off.
can blast them off. And so, actually, today I was discussing this with Chris, female Chris, who's the caddy. I'm like, I played like shit today in our normal 18 round with my irons, and I realized it was because I was playing the 3/4 cutoff. And then the only time I hit my irons pure was when I was playing down, like choked up, where I normally play.
Yeah, you've gotten so used to it.
So I'm like, I probably can take another 1/4 of an inch or 3/4 of an inch off because I'm at. I mean, the tables say that I can pull 2 inches off. So I got another inch and quarter if I want to.
So one thing I say to all
clubs are gonna be
my high
wacko.
school kids that I coach is, and especially the green ones that are just coming in, just learning the game. The one thing is I keep everybody on my team because I want everybody to have a chance to be a part of it, and I want them to learn the game, and I want them to love it as much as I do.
Brilliant.
But the way I teach golf is from green to tee. And I think if you're ever starting to play, you should learn how to play golf green to tee. Kind of like you spent most of your time with the 30-yard chips.
Putting, chipping,
If
pitching.
you can learn how to putt well and chip well, I do not give a shit if you're blasting the ball off the planet, if you're struggling hitting irons, you will still enjoy it and have a great time out there. Ball striking will come. You will learn how to hit your irons when you spend time at the range. But if you can master the short game, you're going to always enjoy golf. Because nothing frustrates you than 4-putt. And we had plenty of those fucking today.
We both had a
you
4-putt.
I know. I did. We did.
The 4-putt for Eagle.
Well, the distance obviously doesn't matter. I mean, so when we talked about playing, and I told you guys what the distances were from the different tees, you were like, yeah, we're playing from the tips. We're going to play the blues when we talked a couple days ago before the preserve. And then today I was like, we're going to play whites. We're playing whites.
And that felt
Trust
right.
me, it's going to be challenging enough. And it was.
It wasn't
right?
easy. I mean, I shot an 84. Ashton shot an 86. I mean, we definitely didn't beat the course up, that's for sure.
One over on the 7th tee, shoots 86.
Yeah.
The golf course is like, fuck you.
And it's tough.
a hard track, man.
It's super challenging. I think it's really fun, a story that I want to tell because going back to this whole like, oh, it's nice to have different types of tees and people change it up, especially, so that the course is different. So we have a lot of members that play here, 4 or 5 times a week. And last year with COVID happening, and then there was like so much more time for people to play golf. The guys that were playing here so often, they started changing. Like they played so much that they started playing with different people, and then they also started playing different tees.
Yeah.
Because it was like they were almost bored playing the same tees, so they started playing the blue tees. Most of our members play white tees, 5,900 yards, super tough. If you're playing, we just got our course re-rated by the OGA. And the lady told me, she's like, if you compare your course with another course that has exactly the same rating, their yardage will be 400 yards longer. She's like, that is something, that's how
cool.
difficult your course is playing. I'm like, okay, that makes a lot of sense. So these guys always play from the whites. They started playing from the blues. They started playing from the reds. They started making up
That's
their own
awesome.
combo tees because they were like, we just want to change up the game,
Yeah.
red, white, and blue, and they'll just do every third hole, they'll do red,
Yeah,
white,
you
and
play
blue.
America.
Yeah.
You
Awesome.
switch every hole.
Yeah, and they were having a blast. So once we got this re-rating done, we're actually making a whole bunch of different combo tees, and we're getting the scorecards printed out hopefully here very soon. But it's been super fun to see people playing different tees because it's just like these guys have been playing the course for 40, 50 years, and now they're seeing different things. Because if you guys get to play, I mean, I know you guys are going to play tomorrow, and I don't know if you're going to play the blues or the whites. Blues is a very different experience. It's a different course.
Crazy.
It's
different
way
experience.
different course playing it from the whites. And I know you want to conquer the course, and you should probably just play the whites so that you can just say, fuck you, course. Right?
I don't know, but
I got you.
we could also get our teeth knocked in tomorrow morning. Right?
Absolutely. So,
Ashton with the big stick wanting to play the blues.
I mean, you beat my ass. Well, you beat the score. I won the match.
Actually, so coming from someone who's like a 23, 24, I think I'd like to say 24 tomorrow for me. After my 102 today.
it's not your handicap's not
I
changing.
know, it's
Sorry.
not. I'm still going to be at 20. After playing the blues for the first time, it's not much different.
Well,
it's more visually intimidating. But, I mean, like, what's 20, 30 yards?
Yeah.
It's nothing.
I heard one of the caddies say in passing that they thought that the course was harder from whites.
It may be.
Huh.
Because
It might be.
I don't know, but I definitely heard that tonight. I heard.
So what I would say, especially with the experience we had today, from the whites, there's a lot of forced carries.
Yes.
And you have to carry ravines, you have to carry water, you have to carry, there's burets that run through, or creeks, or whatever
Yep,
you want to call them. And so that, I think, doesn't come into play as much when you play the blues, because you're automatically like, nah, I just got to lay up.
Yeah.
You're not,
sense.
that added 20
Yeah.
changed your mind immediately, and you went from a 220 to 230 carry to a 240 260 carry, and that is, for me, who hits his driver about 260 on average. I'm not the long ball hitter like Ashton at the 280 or so, about what he usually carries. It's impossible. It's not worth it for me. I'm going to whip out my 3-wood, and I'm going to hit it 230, and I'm going to land it short. So I get where they're coming from with the whites being harder.
I think that the blues actually make it more decisive.
Absolutely.
It makes you like
It picks your club for you.
Like, for example, like I hit it a long way, but like for example, number 10, the downhill par 5. I mean, I hit kind of a fan ball into the shit. I would, from the blue tees, I would never, ever, ever even think about driver. 2 out of 10, I catch it and fly it, sick.
Yeah.
But also, I dropped the ball behind it and almost hit a 3-wood on the green. So it's like, what is? I think the great thing we should all be asking ourselves more is, what is the advantage by taking more club? If there is a real advantage, sure. Like, actually now playing the really, really tough number 8. So could you describe number 8 to the listeners? I think that's a special hole.
Yeah.
In a lot of different ways.
In my opinion,
It's one of the hardest holes I've ever played.
It's not necessarily your signature hole,
No.
but it is a signature hole of the course.
So it's our number 1 handicap hole.
It's fucking hard.
Super hard.
So hard.
It's really tight. First of all, I mean, it's narrow. Not visually necessarily.
It's pretty.
Visually it is.
Stay down that tee.
I actually think that there's a visual, there's something.
It's only about 30 yards wide.
Yeah, that's true. Okay. And on the right side is red hazard stakes. And the left side is all out of bounds.
In heavy tree line.
Yes. And then there's a ravine that from the white tees, it's about a 230, 235 carry.
It looks so much longer.
And
than
it
that.
feels
But if
longer,
the wind is
and then
coming at you-
usually the wind is coming from the north, which is right into our face. That's going to add, obviously, however many yards. So it's brutal. So most people are going to take their 160, 170 club.
I had my 170 club
Yeah.
right at the edge of the ravine.
Yes.
Well, but like,
Today we had no wind too.
but if you hit it
Yeah.
left, right, which
I did.
if you hit it,
I
tight,
did.
if you hit it tight
Directly
left,
into the trees.
if you hit it tight left, it usually trickles down to the right.
Yeah.
And in, but everything trickles towards the ravine. So if you hit a solid 160, you may go into the ravine.
It might fall right. Yeah.
Especially with how dry it is right now.
Yeah.
Well, and on that second shot, like even if you hit a 7 on like my second one, if you're basically if you cut the fairway up in quadrants, if you're like in the right third quadrant, it's gonna go in
It's
the
going
red
to go
hazard.
right into the red hazard.
Oh, and if you decide to blow it left, it's OB still.
Well,
Way up in the hill. So we have like probably 20 yards of hill.
Yeah.
That goes down, but like halfway up the hill is pretty long grass. So if you blow it way left, then you're going to be out of bounds on your second shot. If you get it into the hill about 10 yards up, then it will come down and go onto the fairway. It's still just a really hard shot. If you're fanning anything right, goodbye. You have no chance. You're going to be in the hazard and just drop up there at about the 130 mark. But it ate all of us up.
and
All of us.
I think it's actually a deceptive visually too. I mean, like, you know that
It made me uncomfortable.
my like
It does.
my
It makes
regular
you feel
thing,
claustrophobic.
like my regular thing is taking it to the left, and I'm aiming to the right. I'm aiming to out of bounds on the right.
Yeah.
And I take it to the left, and I think it's because there's some visual like thing that's happening that actually doesn't really. It seems like you're hitting it in the right direction, and you're not.
I was telling Big C this when we were playing that hole. I was like, I have to be in the best frame of mind when I get to this hole. And I have to be in that state of mind every single
Which
shot.
sucks because you come off a fucking hard ass.
God.
Well, it makes sense.
Yes,
I
right.
four jacked for double. That's
Yes.
why I
Right.
blew up.
So
Yes.
also,
Yeah.
all their par threes
makes
for the
sense.
majority are
So
elevated
hard.
tee boxes to a green below you. I would say 90%.
Well, three of the four.
and,
Three of the
and,
four,
and,
yeah.
and water on half of them.
yeah.
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 And so you go from that hole to where you're hitting 40 to 50 feet above the hole. I mean, and it's only a $139, $135 from where we're hitting, but the way the wind swirls up there,
no
the way
no idea.
that you have no short landing space, and if you hit it long, it's into a hillside that's rough, thick fescue that you're probably not going to find your ball in. So you have to hit the fucking green.
Yeah.
And so after you get mind fucked on that hole, you then go to this and you just get claustrophobic and you feel like you're getting choked out there, and like fucking Hulk Hogan's fucking WWE choking you out, and it's just brutal. And then you get to 8 and it just or
You make me want to.
9.
and it just opens up.
You make
Oh,
me want
absolutely.
to. You make me
Yeah,
want to play
absolutely.
8.
It's just fun, and it's crazy because if you don't take driver off of 8, and 6 is a really short hole too, which we don't recommend necessarily taking driver off of.
I had 6-iron gap wedge.
Yeah, right.
And so that
exactly.
used to be the back 9 as well, right?
It used to be the back 9, which we switched.
Switching the routing is genius.
Yeah.
Because after playing it, there's no way I want to get kicked in the dick on like the
To-
7.
to
If it was
finish off,
17,
no chance.
Now 8.
Yeah.
Then
Oh,
going,
that'll be a round ruiner.
it would just you
Absolutely.
destroyed every
You're
time.
gonna leave angry every time, right? But like, so for that, it's crazy. If you get to when you get to 9, and you haven't hit driver since 5. Like I was a little bit like, man, I always get there and I'm just like, I haven't hit a driver in a while, and I feel a little bit uncomfortable. And you have to carry over the wetlands 170, 80 yards to get over that.
Yeah.
It's like. There's so much mental game out here. If you're having a mentally bad day on the golf course, it's gonna be a struggle.
There's
Yeah.
a lot of tight holes.
Yeah.
On the back 9 especially, like, Jesus Christ.
Well, also
like,
just some of the most beautiful fescue I've come across on a course. I mean, there's these beautiful wetlands that run through with this really tall, like wheatgrass, I would consider it. I don't know what it actually is called, but it's just the natural fescue that you get at this course it's incredible. Like,
Yeah.
I mean, I've only seen it at a few courses. Like Rustic Canyon has very similar fescue at it, but it's so well manicured by your boys that do your maintenance, and it's so tight. I mean, it's, to be honest, it's picturesque, but it also fucking just mind fucks you when you have, like you said, 160 fucking yards of it sitting in front of you, left and right, that you cannot bail out on.
Yeah. I mean, it teaches you to hit the ball straight. You gotta hit the ball straight. Mm-hmm. And if you do, you can score. You can score here, absolutely. But it's gonna require you to just be mentally in the game every single shot when
Yep.
you're out here, which is what you want to do anyways when you're on the golf course. It's the hardest thing to do, but like it requires that. When I was trying last summer, my goal was to break 80. And I got
do it?
close a couple times. I was at like 81, 82 for like the middle of the summer, and I was like, man, there was 3 shots that I can remember that I just lost concentration on, and it cost me 4 or 5 strokes.
Yeah.
I was like, I just need to be able to focus on every single shot, and I finally did it. I broke 80 probably 3 or 4 times last year, and I remember every round like I had to be almost perfect hitting the ball, and it's doable. I mean, you can score on this course, but you have to have a little bit of knowledge.
Yeah.
And having played it, you're going to play better the next time you play.
Yeah.
Because you're just going to play a little bit more careful on some holes. But but it's still gonna be tough because then there's unknowns.
Yeah.
What's the wind gonna be doing that day?
Yep.
No idea.
Yeah, but I mean, to put a bow in this conversation, I mean, that's where, like I said, it's like it would be unfair to Coos to compare Coos to Bandon, right? It's a different conversation. But I think what we talked about today is like, look, Bandon yesterday, the pod came out, we had a great experience. But like, that's golf, but that's a certain version of golf. But when I think about golf, the one that we've talked about, where our vibe of golf of good greens, great people, reasonable rates, and like a real
Fast
sense of
play.
and a sense of community, like that's where like, that's not Bandon. Like, I mean, we played, it wasn't slow, but it was more of like a 4-hour and 40-minute round, and it was not cheap, and like,
Also, Coos is a place you come out in jeans and a t-shirt and have a fucking good
to
time.
be clear, I tried this with Pello. We're not wearing jeans. Like,
Not us.
good
That's
for
not
the
my
guys
vibe.
ahead of us.
But I'm just saying,
You can.
You have the choice to come out here.
I wore a
in
t-shirt
jeans and a
today.
t-shirt. I
Loved
wore a
it.
t-shirt today. Like, it's one of the. They're not concerned about the country club lifestyle, about the collars tucked in. As long as you're respectable, or you're not falling apart, and you're not wearing a cutoff, and you're not coming out here right after you.
I don't even think that would matter.
As long as you keep your clothes on.
Yeah.
Well, there was one time I said,
depends.
if Pello earlier I said if Pello makes this putt, I'm gonna take my shirt off. So I guess.
Yeah, that's true. That is true.
But I think one thing that's super cool is they're even like Pello, like we're on number 10.
But what I'm trying to get at, it's the course for everybody.
Yeah.
It's not a course for particular people. How they want to run this course is for the common man.
Well, I was telling you the story earlier, Big C, that when we first got the course, there was this ad in one of the newspapers out here, and it was for Watson Ranch Golf Course, and it said, collar shirts required. And my wife saw this, and she goes,
that's not good advertising.
she was like, what the fuck is this? She's like, nope, not anymore, and cut that off right away. She goes, that's not us. She's like, we're not a country club, we're not stuffy. Like, people want to come play, we just want them to come and have a good time. And absolutely, that is what we're all about. It's all about just like giving people that come here the best experience possible for the day so that they can leave here with a smile on their face and some great memories. That is exactly what we want. One of the things that I wanted to mention earlier was the story when we went to dinner with the friends that Paul had mentioned earlier. After we first played this course, they were telling us stories about this place, about how it was the country club, but it was where everybody wanted to be, the families and
It was the
everything.
community.
Yeah, it was the community hub. And me and my wife were like, how freaking cool is that? Like, what if we could actually get this place and actually turn it back into that? Make it that. And that has been our inspiration since we got this. And it's like, we started, even the first summer we got here, we started like, people were out on the deck, and it was like, we started having people in here and talking, and it was like, this is what we wanted. People just be here having a freaking great time, wanting to bring their friends, wanting to invite their friends and family out here to just share it with them too. And it's like been happening more and more over the last 4 years.
We just talked about that the other day on Sunday. So it was Sunday, last Sunday, Memorial Day weekend. We had a family member, or a family that came in. And I was telling my brother about it, and they'd just come out and they were just hitting balls on the range. And the dad came in and he ordered some drinks for them, and he's like, "Oh, we're just enjoying the weekend. We're hitting balls on the range." Great. So he ordered 3 drinks for adult beverages for the adults in their family, and then a beverage for the son. And then they came in for a second round. Cool. And then they came up, and they're like, "You got food today?" And I'm like, "Yeah, here's what we're serving." I'm like, "Cool. We're gonna take some food." So I went out and delivered the food, and I started chatting with them, and the wife ended up having some connection with the she held office in Coos County, and we started talking, and I just was watching their interaction with their family, and I was like, "Hey, you guys, just want to let you know that we're really happy that you came and hung out here. And they're like, what do you mean? And we're like, well, I was just watching the way that you guys are interacting, and I'm like, this is exactly what we want for this place to be. I'm like, we know. I'm like, I know that you're not golfers here, you're not members here, but the fact that you're spending a day of your weekend here to just hang out with us, it's awesome. And I'm like, and that's the way it should be. And they're like, oh, they were all confused by it. And I'm like, it's not just about the members, it's about people like you. Like, and for me, it was just watching this interaction with parents and their sons, and it was this really like engaged interaction. It wasn't like, oh, I'm gonna go putt, like a kid saying, I'm gonna go putt, right? No, they were like bantering with each other and being like, yeah, you could have hit that ball better, and blah blah blah. And they're like, well, you could have done it. Like, it was a really great interaction, and that's the kind of thing that is happening on a day-to-day basis with us, with, you know, shitheads who want to fucking compete with one another, let alone family members who are just like, hey, you know, talking crap to one another, and but like creating the family dynamic. It's like, that's it, man. Good. Thank you for being here.
Well, and I could feel that when I first reached out to you, because when we were planning this trip and me and my wife decided we were moving back to Portland, and I hit up Ashton and I said, hey, I got this great idea. You know, my wife's down with it. She's going to drive the truck up with all our stuff and move us in. And we thought it was a great idea for me and Ashton to go on a golf trip and, you know, take 4 or 5 days and drive up through, you know, California and Oregon and play a bunch of golf. When we planned it originally, we planned on just hitting the I-5 corridor and just hitting golf course along I-5. And then Andre contacted me back, and the response that we got from you made us change our entire trip. I mean, the entire trip. I had an entire trip planned out. I spent like 15 fucking hours planning a trip out, and just by Andre's dick ass hitting me back and, you know, being who he is and how amazing you guys are out here, I changed my entire plans. You know, every time we've released a pod since me and you have talked, he hits me up the next day. He hits me up on Friday and says, hey, I just listened to the pod, and like sends me a long message of all the stuff he was so stoked to do with us when we got out here.
Yeah.
And like every week there was something different that was added on, or there's something that we needed to do when you guys got here, and it got me more and more excited for the trip. Even though we had Bandon prior to coming to Coos, we both were, I think, more excited to come here.
Well, I even said today, like a couple times, I really felt it. Like, I mean, it would have been amazing to play the other courses today, and I can't wait to get out there. But like, today's what I needed. Like, it's just first and foremost, like getting to play with you guys, like great people, a course that, like, again,
and a couple people that I'm going to be playing with regularly now that I'm in the Pacific Northwest again. Like, instant best buds. Like, instant.
Awesome. Love it.
Yeah, but like today was just, it's like Bandon's awesome, but I think it's not like an either or, it's like an and, right?
Absolutely.
Like you need a Bandon and you need a Coos Bay, and that's why today was so special. Is like we got the resort experience, we got the, you know, blah 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 blah, all the stuff that you can imagine.
But when you want to come see your friends, come to Coos.
Yeah.
Come see your buddies at Coos Golf Club.
You get Paolo to make you his margarita, and because Paolo's take on.
To be honest, his margarita, his transfusions, his 7 and 7s, his specialty that he makes. I mean, order anything, Paolo got you.
You guys didn't even get to have the cheeseburgers.
No, I got the hot dog. He made us an incredible
really. See,
pulled
I'm a
pork
cheeseburger guy. You pander to his ass.
We had kids.
Hell yeah, he did.
We had kids. So my son he played in the junior PGA league at Bend and Dunes, and we were heading on the shuttle was picking us all up and bringing us after the round that they played out there. And one of the kids that was in the shuttle, I don't know if they noticed us, but they're like, "Can we go out to Coos and go get some cheeseburgers?" And they're like, That place has the best cheeseburgers in town. It was awesome. And
you're
my
just
son,
sitting
my
there,
son,
you're like, yeah.
my son had the biggest smile on his face because he
You,
was
do you
listening
sous vide
to this.
those too?
No, it's it's straight grilled burgers like on the flat top, but I don't know. The secret is I just
They're made
dialed
with
it
Paulo
in.
love.
Yes, some
Dialed-
special
Yeah, I was saying the
sauce.
secret is love.
just dialed it in.
Paulo.
No, I just dialed it in.
I will say though, like my favorite moment of today, bar none, was number 10. We all tee off. People pull up. There's like a twosome behind us. We end up playing a sixsome, and your playlist was fire. But like,
The most sexual playlist of all.
Wasn't it?
no,
It
no,
was Pandora's
no,
playlist.
your playlist is fire. But legitimately, I'm sitting in the car of my tee shot, and it is a woman coming to orgasm while like we're hitting, and there's like two. It's like literally the woman's like,
All right,
oh!
all right. I'm just gotta clarify here. That's not on my playlist. That was a Pandora playlist for
I gotta-
P-Funk. Parliament P-Funk.
Paulo Funk.
Paulo
Well, it's
Funk.
true. When Paolo made birdie, what did it say in your golf ball?
Longest noodle?
No,
peas
nuts.
Peas nuts. That's right. That's right.
Longest noodle was earlier.
The longest noodles were earlier. It did say peas nuts.
It was incredible.
That's right. That's right.
Yeah.
Oh,
But
man.
it was an amazing day. We should cap this. Andre
Yeah.
needs to get to his daughter's baccalaureate. But guys, this was incredible. I know he's gonna be back, but like I'm not far away, and this is you guys are our family, and we can't wait to get back here.
Well, we loved having you guys out here. It was
Fun.
It was better than what I probably expected even it was gonna be. And I had a blast. I know my brother had a blast, and can't wait to do it
This whole
again.
project is a fucking amazing blast. Like, and we've hit our heads against the walls with one another, but that's the thing about family and like taking care of people and just making sure that we do the right thing at all times, right?
Yeah.
And fucking up. We fuck up, and we're that's just it. But at the same time,
But
it's
you're
like,
doing it with family.
well, and we believe in it. It's like, that's we flat out believe in it. Like this is, and we know that this community is like family. So that's just what it is. And
Well, they're going to be behind you because the experience that we had with the people that love you guys and love Coos, you guys have created and brought, or I wouldn't say created, but have brought back the community of Coos.
I think that like
To the golf club.
The thing that I remember hearing over the last couple of days, I think is the first night when I met you guys was Ashton saying something. There's just like, you guys are just authentic.
Yeah.
And that's the truth. Like there's no shtick about us. We're not in it for any other
You
reason.
know when someone's a bullshitter,
yeah.
and you guys
We're
are
not.
fucking straight up guys.
Yeah.
Well, and I think the only reason, like, honestly, we have, like, I joked with you earlier about my job as a recruiter, but even with our podcast, is like, I think one of the reasons I took to Chris so immediately, and I think if you say anything about us, is like, I don't know how to be anything other than myself. I'm a gigantic moron. Like, I sing Harry Potter Sorting Hat songs. I have Star Wars tattoos on my leg. Like, I'm myself to a fault, but that's the only place I'd rather be. And I think I just want to surround myself, like we were saying earlier. I've got enough friends. But what I want, though, more of is I'm open to more friends and certainly want to surround myself with people where it's authentic, where it's real. And I think that's, with the connection the four of us have very quickly is like, I just love, like, we are very different people.
Oh.
But, like, my God, like, today we shared a cart together for 7 hours. And, like, it's just like, you're doing you, I'm doing me. And there's a lot of overlap because we're just vibing off of each other's authenticity. And I think that's everything.
Well,
Like,
there's no expectation. Like, you get to be who you are. And it's the same thing with the members here. Like, we have friends that are going to be lifelong friends. And unfortunately, their lives aren't going to be much longer than ours because they're in their 80s, right? But there's no fucking doubt that they're our friends, right? Like, I had a drink with a friend of mine the other day, and he's like, quite honestly, he's like, do you know the last time that my kids came out here and had a drink with me? And I'm like, no, I don't. He's like, you've come out here in the last 6 months twice. It's like, they haven't. And I'm like, I'm not trying to do anything other than hang out with my friend. And, you know, whatever that means, I don't give a fuck what it means. It just means that, like, we just want to spend our time doing what we think is important, hanging out with our friends, spending time getting to hear the stories that people have to tell. Because, especially these people who've been here a long time, they have great stories about what this golf course is, because we don't know. But it gives us some education in terms of, like, everyone has a great idea of what to do in the clubhouse.
Yeah.
Everybody's a superintendent, let me tell you.
I bet.
Oh, well, we found that out about Muni Madness. Every single one of those caddies had something to say.
Well, I
especially-
remember one of the guys made the comment about the new fucking, like, the new shears to make the thing sharper.
Oh, yeah.
The guy in the red shirt made the comment about the
new sharpener.
What the hell? How do you know about that?
But at the same time, it's like, yeah, well,
It's
you know.
because they care, too, though.
Absolutely.
And that's the thing. That's why this is the home course for the Bandon caddies.
Well,
Like, this is why they come here to play, and they don't play at the fucking resort. Because it's home, they can approach the owners and fucking enjoy the conversations they have with you, become friends with you guys. And, you know, Paulo's here every day. I mean, Andre's still living half the time up in Seattle and half the time here trying to run a fucking golf course. And Paulo gets to interact with these guys every day, see these guys every day, create relationships with these guys every day. And you can tell that you guys have fucking killed it with that. I mean, the relationships they had with you guys tonight during Muni Madness was probably it was probably the funnest golf experience I've had. Top 5 golf experience I've ever had. It doesn't matter the golf course. It's golf experiences, period. Top 5 easy.
Well, and just to also, like, how earlier, it's like, I mean this in a good way. We were trying to have a conversation, and there was, like, 6 or 7 people who, like, stopped you or were talking to you. And, like, our conversations over the course of, like, 20 minutes. But it's because, like, that person's like, what up? How's this? What up? But, like, that's how it should be. Because, like, for example, I mean, again, I'm not trying to, like, drive-by shoot my courses, but, like, I don't know who the owner of the Presidio is. Like, I don't know who any of these owners are. They
And
don't
it's
know
someone
who
you're never going to fucking meet
like,
either.
I played the Presidio 30 times. I don't know who owns the place. I don't know who
You don't
runs
even know
the
the
show.
general manager.
No, and actually, I feel like the fucking customer people don't. I've had to get into fight them about them double charging me when like they're like. I mean, like it's been the opposite of that experience. But I just love the idea where it's like we're having a conversation, but like there's people like they want to come up to you, they want to say what up, they want to say, hey, because to your point, the beauty of this place, yeah, we love golf, but the reason we love golf is actually like community and like some competition. Like our match, cool man, it's a fucking dinner, whatever. Like whatever, but it's like competition amongst friends. Just and I don't know, it's just. To really put a bow on this, y'all have just built an incredible community here, and it's I put this on our Instagram story. I said, I took a picture of Muni Madness, and I said, this is golf. Like, what y'all have built is like, this is everything that golf should be. And again, there's a place for abandon, there's a place for private golf if you're into that, whatever. But like, to me, when I think about golf, y'all built it, and we really appreciate being part of it.
Awesome. Well, thanks, and can't wait for you guys to come back again. We'll do it again.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Hopefully very, very soon.
Yeah. Thank you guys.